The Entrepreneur's Library, episode 171.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Library,
the only book-centric podcast that reviews all the top-selling business books and shares authors' perspective firsthand. This is your resource to finding the next great book
that will enable you to grow personally and professionally.
Welcome your host, Wade Danielson.
Welcome back to the EL. Today we have Chellie Campbell, author of From Worry to Wealthy, a woman's guide to financial success without the stress. Welcome, Chellie, and thank you for joining us on the Entrepreneur's Library.
Thank you for having me. This is really fun.
Absolutely. Before we take a deep dive into From Worry to Wealthy, will you take just a moment to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you personally.
Yes, I've been teaching financial stress reduction workshops for the past 25 years. I used to own a bookkeeping service, and I saw that a lot of my clients couldn't really read the reports I gave them. Most people haven't gotten a really good financial education. So I started consulting with my clients, and 3 of them in the same week said, "You should teach this." And voila, I started and never looked back.
Excellent. So let's dive into that book that we already brought up. From Worry to Wealthy, a woman's guide to financial success without the stress, which when I say was just made available, it was actually, after this recording, it was made available 2 days ago. So it was made available February 3rd of 2015. And Chellie, we're going to move quickly, but we're here to cover the top questions that our listener/future reader would like to get answered. And the first one is, what was the inspiration behind writing From Worry to Wealthy?
Well, I've written 2 other books for the general public. The Wealthy Spirit, which is a page-a-day book, and the Zero to Zillionaire, which is like my 8-week financial stress reduction workshop. What happened then is I took a long break and I was just working with people. But there's been a lot since the 2008 crash of the economy. And a lot of discussion of income inequality, and certainly gender inequality still comes up. Women still don't make as much money as men. So I had a conversation with my agent and my publisher at Source Books. And I said, what's really driving me right now is that women are coming into their own, but not quite completely. And business is still driven by a very male hierarchical structure. And women don't want to be men. We want to be women, and we want to be user-friendly and nice and all of those kinds of things. Like most business books written for women are like teaching you how to do it the old way. And like nice girls don't get the corner office. And I'm going, yeah, they do. So let's talk about that. How can we have it all and still be nice and still have a good time?
What makes your book different from others regarding the same or similar topic?
Well, most financial books are targeted to the regular 9-to-5 worker bee. And the advice you can give them is really pretty limited. It's save your money, be careful, deposit money in your 401k, save for retirement, and stay out of debt. Pretty much that covers it.
Excellent.
And I don't think that covers it. I think what I want to address are everybody who has a dream, everybody who not just has a job or a career, but has a calling, that wants to help people, that has a particular talent or ability, or has an idea for an invention or a toy or a game, and doesn't want to just be squelched into the 9-to-5 work model, but to get out of it and perhaps own their own business or work as an independent contractor. And so what becomes important for those people is to learn to take risks, to not always be just about saving money and not having debt, because there's good debt and there's bad debt. So the good debt is investing in a business that isn't going to be profitable for maybe the first 6 months or a year or 2 years, depending on the business model. So I say that the real important thing is to learn to make more money right now. Yeah, drag some of it aside and save it. But savings aren't the end all and be all of financial planning. And too much focus is given on that. So that's why I wrote this book. I want people to start looking at other ways of having a richer and happier life inside and out.
Very good. We always ask that because there's so many books that are coming out these days. So I appreciate you taking the time to break down, what differentiates your book.
Yeah.
And how did you design the book to be read, or how did you suggest the reader engage? Can they jump in and jump out as they need information, or did you really design it to be read from front to back?
No, there are really standalone chapters. Like chapter 8 is the amazing things I learned about business from playing poker. Poker is my hobby, and I think a lot of people have hobbies that make them money or have the potential to make them money. So I wrote a chapter about that, and particularly directed towards women who don't play poker much. It's been a pretty male-dominated game. The World Series of Poker, usually the field includes 4 to 6% women. That's not very many. And it's the richest prize pool in any sport anywhere. It's over $200 million. So I say we got to be about that.
So, Chellie, now that we know a little bit of the background, the purpose behind the book, let's take a deep dive into the content itself. We take the next 5 to 8 minutes and really let the future reader know what they can get out of your book.
Okay. Now, there is so much to talk about in this book because as I was reviewing it, when you asked me that question, I said, okay, there's a lot of things to cover here. I could probably talk for 2 hours. But let me give you a brief overview, as brief as I can. One of the reasons that I wrote the book, and I stated in the introduction, don't skip the introduction. Some people do, but I say read this. There was a survey. I read it in the LA Times as I started writing the book. Almost half of U.S. women fear becoming bag ladies, even those earning 6-figure salaries. Women are really scared about money. More than men. Men have more confidence to go out and get it. And women don't want to be seen as arrogant or rude or boastful or any of those nasty, aggressive terms. So we get caught in between the culture and how we naturally want to be giving and loving and needing to make more money. So I talk about that. One of the things I mentioned in that introduction is the idea of business ownership. Because like Sheryl Sandberg wrote a book, Lean In, saying women have to lean into their careers and really go for it. And I'm saying, well, business should lean out just a little bit more. Because I think we need to be more user-friendly and not just have a financial balance sheet, but a happiness balance sheet. And I think men want that too. Just my thought. So the first chapter is called Confidence, Charisma, Clients, Credentials, Competition, and Cash. That all those C things. And a lot of it is about having to develop confidence in yourself and being able to be yourself. I was always taught that when I was growing up, be yourself. But when you're 22, you don't know what that self is really. But as you age, you grow into understanding who you are and what you want. Charisma comes, this is what they're all looking on, all of the singing competition shows, American Idol, The Voice. I love to watch them. And I watch who's going to be successful. And you can tell it right off because the successful people really love what they're doing and they have such a good time with it. They're so into it. They're inviting you to be into it with them and have a good time too. The people that are nervous or are focused on themselves blow it. So I talk about how to develop that. From that, you want to look for the clients that you want, and credentials don't matter. You can credential yourself. The competition, there is no competition. You're the only you on this planet, and there are people who are attuned to your voice and what you have to share, and they need you to show up. And then cash, the money flows from all of those other things, and you have to be able to ask for the money. So Chapter 2, the real money in life you lose is the money you fail to earn. What this means is you've got to be figuring out what is important for you. The number one attitude that will kill your business faster than any other is, I don't care about the money. And women do this a lot. They go, well, I love my work and I'm really helping people. And if they can't afford it, I'll give it to them anyway. Well, you don't help the poor and starving by becoming the poor and starving. There's not a price that you can name that will allow everybody on the planet to be able to afford you, because some people can't afford 50 cents. So you have to look at your life and your budget and figure out what's an appropriate amount of money. Like you got to do your research. Who in my field is making a lot of money? What are they charging? What women often do is they ask their friends who may be undercharging and under-earning also. So be sure to look for the really successful people and see how they're doing and what kind of money they're charging, and then you can start charging that too. Now, chapter 3, if you don't count your money, pretty soon you won't have any to count. This is all about making sure you're aware of what money you're making and how you're spending it, otherwise known as budget. Now, I have a user-friendly way of reframing the word budget. I say BUDGET stands for baby, you deserve getting everything. So I teach people how to do low, medium, and high budget and have 3 different budgets, and you choose one for each month. Let me see. Chapter 4, selling is serving. Somebody needs your help. This is one of the things that messes up people in general, and women in particular, is that we don't want to bother people. We don't want to be aggressive. We want people to like us. We care about relationships. So people who think they have to sell sometimes are too pushy, and they go, okay, let me tell you about my thing. And what I say is, you got to pick up the phone to reach out to talk to people, but you're there to serve them. You don't sell them your product or service just because you need to make a living. That's part of it. But what you do is look for the ideal person who really needs and wants what you have and help them see what it is that you have that's going to help them and help them to buy it from you. So that's what that chapter is all about. And I say, instead of selling, call it convincing or persuading or just showing somebody how it works. Okay, I better start rushing now because I know we're getting close to the time. Chapter 5, it's not cold calling, it's gold calling. I have a gold phone. I paint my fingernails gold because I want people to know how to make warm calls. And that chapter is a step-by-step process of exactly how to make a warm call, how to be user-friendly, how to ask about the other person first, and then turn it around to a sale if it's appropriate and you see them as needing what you have. Chapter 6, growth happens outside your comfort zone. We're all having to take risks. And I remember the quote from Paul McCartney. He said, one day John and George showed up and told me we had a gig. I said, no, I've got a steady job here. I can't expect more. And I was quite serious. But then I thought, sod it. And I bumped over the wall and was never again seen by Massey and Coggins. Pretty shrewd move, really, as it turned out. And I love that. Pretty shrewd move. Yes, take the risk. Go for it. If you have an idea, you got to try it because you don't want to be on your deathbed saying, I wonder what would have happened if. Chapter 7 is spousal support. Not the kind you get when you get divorced, but the kind that if you get it, you don't get divorced. So this chapter is all about how women and men work together, like if they're married or partners. How can they work with their partner to go over a budget if they're in business for themselves or starting one? What's their anticipation of how much it's going to cost? How long is it going to take to be profitable? And what profits can be realized after they risk? So that's that chapter. I spoke about chapter 8 already as being the poker chapter. And let me give you this quote because I love this. If you bet on a horse, that's gambling. If you bet you can make 3 spades, that's entertainment. If you bet cotton will go up 3 points, that's business. See the difference? Somebody named Blackie Sherrod, who I don't know who that is, said that, and I thought it was just a completely wonderful analogy. So the last chapter is creating a life while creating a living. How do you put all the pieces together? Take time off to play, to be with your family, to go on vacations, to not worry, to be able to survive the storms and seek balance and enlightenment. How do you do that? So that's the last chapter where Socrates said, the unexamined life isn't worth living. But I say the unlived life isn't worth examining. So you got to live full out, enjoy it, help each other, and help yourselves. Live in anticipation, and happiness will come to you. And money, too. And that's the book.
Excellent. So, Chellie, thank you for taking us through that. And you do an excellent job of storytelling as well. But this next question, I'm asking you to break your book down even in one more level. And that's if the reader can only take away one concept, principle, or action out of your entire book and everything you just took the last couple of minutes to explain to us, what would you want that to be?
Go for it. You have a dream, you have a goal, you have a desire. Everything you want in life can be yours if you just get started. You may not have the whole plan today. That's okay. Your best guess for today will do. Go for it.
Perfect. And you gave us a quote already, but I want to maybe go through another one. Do you have a favorite quote from your book, and will you explain what it means to you?
Yes. I said, living within your means is important, but not as important as increasing your means. So go make better means today, which is basically along the lines of whatever you don't earn is what you have really lost in life. If you could have asked for a raise and didn't, that's money you lost. If you could have started a business on the side and make a lot of extra income, that's money you lost. So go for it. Really look at, debt isn't going to be a problem if you make more money and pay it off. So put all of your attention on how can I make more money? What can I sell that's going to bring in money? That's what I think is important.
So my last question, obviously, is a book-centric podcast. I got to ask for a book recommendation. We're not asking for just any recommendation. We're asking that if you could only recommend one, based on the way that it's impacted your life, created a lifestyle or a paradigm shift, what book would you recommend?
I actually was asked this question. I wrote a story for Jack Canfield's book. It was called, You've Got to Read This Book. 55 people share the book that changed their life. And the book that changed my life was called When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel Smith. And it's really for anybody who is codependent, anybody who puts others first too much to the point of, just not taking care of themselves at all. I had to learn how to say no to the bad things, to the things that I didn't want to do, to the people that were destructive in my life, to the bullies, to the sharks, to the angry people. I had to get them out. But I thought I had to be user-friendly and perfect and a good girl and nice to everybody. And I had to get over that. And that book really, really helped me.
Excellent. Thank you for that recommendation. And Chellie, before we depart, can you recommend the best way for our listeners to get more information on you and your book, From Worry to Wealthy?
Yes, From Worry to Wealthy. They can Google that. They'll find my website. They'll find it on Amazon or any of the online stores. Also, my website is Chellie.com. So Chellie, and my email is Chellie@Chellie.com. So if you get the spelling of my first name, you've got me forever.
Okay, perfect. And we'll put that those links, I guess, in the show notes so people can go back and reference those. But Chellie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a delight to talk to you, and I love your questions.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for listening in today. If you'd like more information on Chellie or her book, From Worry to Wealthy, check out the show notes at the elpodcast.com.
Looking for your next book idea?
Head over to the elpodcast.com.
Where Wade shares his amazing resource, the top 10 business books recommended by over 500 entrepreneurs, with you for free.
That's the elpodcast.com.
Till the next time, keep it on the EL.